Well, greetings. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Real Talk Show with Dr. India White. I am so excited to be here tonight with you guys. I've done my best to reserve my energy for you. I'm so grateful to be among you tonight. I'm humbled with this experience. Go ahead and like and share this post. Let's get this word out here. We're going to have a very interesting conversation today. But before we get started, I first want to thank all of you for tuning in to the Real Talk Show with Dr. India White. In addition to that, I hope that all of you guys had a great day today. I know, the season is changing. Some of you guys are actually having a real fall experience with like colorful changing leaves. I can't really necessarily say we have any of that here in Florida, but we do have a little bit of the chilliness coming in. I know some of you are probably enjoying those pumpkin spice lattes. You're probably enjoying just getting out your fall boots and things like that. I know it's not really cold enough here for boots, but then it kind of is because here in Florida, cold is 40 degrees, right? So with that said, I haven't pulled out my boots yet, and I only have like one pair of boots. So, I mean, for me, it's just a little chilly, and I'm trying to figure out, should I turn on the heater? Should I turn off the heater? So my experience has been really interesting at night because, I'm super cold, but then I'm like waking up and I'm super hot and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And no, I'm experiencing any life changes. It's just I'm trying to adjust the mood in my house. So with that said, I want to now bring on an expert here. I want to talk about life changes. Speaking of life changes, people right now, I don't know about you guys, but I have seen a lot of marriages taking place. And my heart is so happy. It really is. Like, my friends are getting married, friends of friends are getting married, relatives are getting married. Just people are getting married left and right. And I think a lot of these marriages that I have been seeing, people are really thinking about their choices and not just jumping into marriage. And so, long story short, the experts that I'm bringing on my show today. So I was just kind of trolling on Facebook and looking through the Facebook feed and social media feed, and I saw this expert, and he posted something about dating and relationships and had a thread that was just going on and on. And I said, because he even had me started, I even started to think. So I said, you know what? I said, he needs to come on the show. Okay. So ladies, he is going to be an expert for us today. So I'm going to now introduce to you guys a financial advisor, an expert in his own right. And tonight, a dating expert, Mr. Javeed Morgan. Welcome to
Howdy,
the
howdy, howdy.
show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How are you?
Man, I'm past wonderful. I can't complain, live, no health issues. So whenever you have that going, you can't complain about it because 80% of the
Exactly.
people not going to really care, and the remaining 20 got their own issues. So it's a great day.
Exactly. Now, Javid, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm originally from Jamaica, born and raised. Moved to the United States when I was 11 years old, and just embarked on a journey, just to transition from growing up in the islands where you pretty much know everyone and you're able to cook your own and grow your own stuff and just grow up. I grew up a farm boy. My dad had about 100+ cows, goats, um, pigs, you name it, we grew it. We also grew fruits, vegetables. So growing up and coming to the United States, where it's a lot different, a lot more fast paced. I grew up here from 11 up until now. Then I migrated, went to high school here as well, and migrated to UCF where I played football and got sustained an injury. And so been doing finance as well since 2011. Embarked on the journey there because I always wanted to give back the knowledge that I've accumulated so far. So that's a little bit about me.
Wow. So you went to college at University of South or Central Florida?
That's correct.
Okay. Did you, so you played sports? Did you have a particular major?
Yes, I majored in restaurant management and did some minor studies as well in entrepreneurship.
Very nice. Okay. So then What led you into this whole financial path?
Well, growing up in Jamaica, I grew up very poor. My dad was a farmer, but because he had so many kids, my dad had a total of 8 kids. My oldest brother died. I never got a chance to meet him. And so just having that many kids and being a farmer, and he would also drive tractor trailers, and he would actually bring sugarcane to the factories for them to make sugarcane juices and things of that nature. And so him having all of those things, I grew up very poor. And so around the age of 16, I started to venture out on just watching documentaries. And the first one I came across was a Warren Buffett documentary. And I remember the first words he said is never lose money and have your money always working for you. So that allowed me to go down the path of understanding finance and learning more about it. And then in 2011, I got one of my licenses.
Wow. You do financial advising. Who is your main ideal client?
Typically speaking, I want somebody we call macho. That's a client. Macho means you're married. You have a house, you have kids, you have something to protect. Normally, usually, generally, when I sit down with a client, if they're single, typically speaking, they're not really thinking about finances especially at a young age. Um, and that's unfortunate because the earlier you start, the better off you'll be in the long run. And so that's the typical client: married, with kids, home. That'll be the typical client.
Wow. Okay, and so you're saying the younger the better. Now we're going to talk about um, preparing for financial stability, especially for those that are single that are wanting to get married. I mean, what advice do you have for that crowd?
If you're single, Brian, and ultimately the goal is you want to be married, I would say start setting yourself up. Be as independent as you can be, whether male or female, and get out of debt. The faster you can get out of debt, whether that's college debt, from student loans, whether that's personal debt, credit card, personal loans, things of that nature, car loans, try to get out of debt as much as possible. One of the things that I always educate on is opportunity cost, right? So, for instance, you have $400 that you're paying on a car note, right? And let's say you were to pay that for, let's say, 5 years. And let's just say over that 5 years, for round numbers, for simple cost, right? You had $30,000 that you paid over that 5 year time frame, right?
Mhm.
What would be the opportunity cost if you were to take that same $400 a month, right? And you were to put that into an investment and just let that grow for, let's say, 30, 40 years at an 8% return on your investment. You are losing out on millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, right? And so that's what I always try to educate people on. The quicker you can get out of debt, the quicker you can put your money to actually working for you and not going to the next man.
This is very uh, vital information that you're giving us. And I think people, I don't know when people really, the light switch really goes on and they start thinking about that wealth and that financial prosperity. But I wanted to kind of talk now about relationships and preparing, especially, whether it's a guy preparing or a female preparing for marriage and things like that. And I know that, for example, some of the stats, I'll talk to you about some of the stats here about divorce and marriage. So here it says statistics about marriage and divorce: 6.8 per 1,000 people, which I don't understand how you can be a 6.8 person, are married, and 3.2 per 1,000 people are divorced. So this is
Wow.
according to the CDC. Okay, so we've got that fact. And then we've got this fact here. It says 16.9% of couples get a divorce, and about 50% of marriages end in divorce. And some of these, when you look at the reasons why people are getting a divorce, some of the main reasons are, according to
Mhm.
what I found on the internet today, top reasons for divorce: you've got conflict and arguing, marrying too young, and there you have it, financial problems, substance abuse. These are some of the top reasons why people are getting a divorce. So I wanted to see if you could kind of speak just from
Mhm.
personal experience and maybe let us know a little bit about your background with relationships, people that have mentored you, their relationships, and what you know about finances, what you know about just relationships in general, and what your opinion is about these statistics here.
Well, I could definitely see why those statistics. Wow, there's some mind blowing numbers, but I think the first thing before you get married, right, is you need to have a sit down and a real conversation. Where are both of you guys financially speaking? What's your credit score, right? Check that credit score, because that's going to tell you how that person's habit is, right? Are they a spender? Do they pay their bills on time? Do they go into debt? These are things that you must be aware of before marriage, right? Because you know if the person is a spender and you're a saver, right? Every time you save, they spend it. So these are things that you need to tackle before you enter the marriage and figure out, okay, how do we come to an agreement? Do I put you on a budget? Is the wife good at handling money? Is the husband good at handling money? Right? And whoever is best at handling the finances, they need to keep the finances. Let's say, for instance, if the wife is good at handling finances, the husband needs to just give his check to her, and then you disperse where the money needs to go. Because if he's bad, money is always going to be going out, even though it's coming in, and they're going to be at the end of the day wondering, "Whoa, where did the money go?"
So what about a situation where the woman is or submitted and the man has more of a dominant personality, but yet he's the spender and she's the saver and she can't say anything because she has to submit?
Oh boy, that's a good one there. I think at the end of the day, you got married because something about that individual attracted you to her, right? For you to actually think about, okay, I want to spend the rest of my life with this lady. So there was some level of respect that you had for this individual. Just because you are the leader, I always tell people, you are the head of the home, but your wife is the body from the
Yeah.
neck on down. And so you're basically one person. When you get married, you're supposed to be one. You're functioning as one individual. And so if you see that you are not the best version with the money, relinquish that, because there's other departments in the house and other doors that you're able to fulfill. So relinquish that power to her.
But what if he has a
Let go of that
controlling
pride,
problem
for
and
instance.
the man, what if he has to say, I'm the man here? I'm not going to allow no woman to run my house. I am top dog. I'm a alpha male. Or, I'm the man. She's not going to do nothing. I know she's good. She's not running this house.
Hmm.
So even though he knows he has a problem. So how can you help men that might have that type of mindset to overcome that
Right.
so that they can grow together with their spouse?
My mentor always tell me, you can choose to be happy or you can choose to be miserable. Money is the biggest factor that contributes to a lot of divorces, right? And so at the end of the day, you know that you are trying to have a successful marriage. So you have to shed that ego and that pride as a man. And sometimes it takes another man speaking to that individual, because sometimes, unfortunately, a lot of guys, they have that ego and that pride that they refuse to let go. But if you want your marriage to succeed, you're going to have to let that ego go, because at the end of the day, the union working is for the betterment of us, not I.
That's very powerful advice, and I thank you so much, Javid, for giving that input. I wanted to now share some other reasons for divorce. Found these at
If I can add,
ncbi.nlm. Yes, go ahead.
India, if I can just add one more thing, I think a lot of times too, women don't get marital counseling, and premarital counseling will expose a lot of those belief systems that men have. And so then you can see, okay, do I really want to walk down the aisle with you? And you can make that decision, because if you see that's that individual mentality, exit stage left.
That's excellent. Some women just don't have the courage to exit stage left. So When a woman has built so much into a relationship, sometimes they don't have the courage. And that's why you've got three more topics for divorce right here. You've got incompatibility, and drinking and drug use. So I appreciate the exit stage left, but sometimes people miss that exit, and then they're on this journey from hell.
Amen.
So now what? So let's discuss these three topics now: infidelity, incompatibility, drinking and drug use. So, in your experience as an expert, as having mentors that have successfully tackled marriage, what is your perspective on these top reasons, and any advice that you'd have for people that are considering marriage or in marriage and they've experienced these things?
Okay, I do. I look at things also from a biblical standpoint, right? And one of my mentors told me, you want to have a biblical marriage, but in a practical way. So, infidelity, the Bible says that the marriage bed is undefiled, right? So, the first thing that you must do, and I always say premarital counseling, you got to figure out where are we when it comes to sexual needs inside the marriage, right? Because I can't be a jump off the chandelier type of lady and you're a modest, neat type of dude, or vice versa. You need to figure out, okay, do I have a high drive? Do I have a low drive? Do you have a high drive? Do I have a low drive? Come to some type of agreement. That will decrease the types of infidelity or the level of infidelity that goes on within the confines of a marriage. And then once you're in marriage, you now know based on your premarital counseling, okay, there's nothing that's off limits except for what we don't agree on and what we do agree on. So whatever we agree on before marriage, then that's good for marriage. What we don't agree on, we need to come to some type of compromise, right? I think that oftentimes people get into marriages and they do a bait and switch,
Ha,
right?
yeah.
So before marriage, they was jumping off the chandeliers, they was doing everything, male or female, and they get married and they go to maybe once a week or maybe 3 times a week, and then the person was like, "Wait a minute, man, I was getting it on before we got married. Now you don't switched up on me." So now that need is still there; it doesn't go anywhere.
Right. But can we speak to, and usually it's the women that do the bait and switch um,
Mm.
for the most part, from what I've experienced from people I've counseled and spoken to. Can we speak on why there is a bait and switch? And I want to think as a lady, and we'll talk back and forth from a man's perspective and from a woman's perspective. So, from a woman's perspective, if there's infidelity, that's gonna defeat sex drive, period. If
Yes.
there's abuse, that will limit sex drive greatly. If there's put down, like any type of words, women are very gentle and practical and fragile. And if certain things are said, even nonchalant, off the cuff things to a lady about either her image or about another woman, or if she even sees her husband or her boyfriend checking out another person, in a way to desire them, that could just destroy any desire for a long time.
Mm.
So I don't know that men know that, but women can, in one moment, they could be completely head over heels for someone, desire them 100%. And one of those things happen, and she will go ice cold on him, ice
Mm.
cold. And,
Mm.
and so let's speak on that, because I don't think that guys think it's a big deal to say, oh, you're looking a little big today, or oh, she looks hot. Like they don't think anything like that matters, but it really does. And so maybe you can speak on that as a guy, and your perspective, and what you think about it.
I think for the most part, usually, normally, generally speaking, most men are not in tune with how to effectively communicate to their spouse, i.e., in the department of weight gain, right? There is
Right.
a way that you must communicate because, as you mentioned, women are fragile when it comes to words, right? And my favorite book said, "Death and life is in the power of the tongue." So you have to understand, how do I effectively communicate to my spouse if she's gained some weight, right? So a great analogy that I always use with my mom, for instance, I go to my mom if I see my mom gaining some weight and I know that's not to her best interest. I say something of this nature, and maybe this is something that men can use. I say, "Hey, mom, I love and appreciate you, and I need you. I don't want to lose you. This weight that you've gained, it's not to the best of your interests, and your health is on the line. Would you like to work out together so that way you can stay healthy?" Because, as you know, especially in the African American community, whereas the more weight you gain, you have diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. And so these are all factors that play into that. And so I think if you communicate more on that level, more than just saying, "Hey man, you don't gain some weight." Now
Right.
you hit my personality and my feelings. That's like, I feel like I'm being attacked.
So, um, certain women, they like their curves, and they don't know that their guy does not necessarily like their curves.
Mm.
So, um, maybe we can also speak to that in a man being honest. I think men have to be honest during that
Yes.
premarital counseling and say, "I don't want
Yes.
you any bigger than this size," because I think there's a silent frustration that is produced to where there's a slow lack of desire. And then, she might be wondering, why is he tripping? Why doesn't he want me? Or why? Well, honey, you got to kind of get that Stella's got to get a groove back. Like, and I want you to speak. I want you to speak to the importance of weight management in a man's opinion when it comes down to desiring a lady and being proud to be with that lady. Because I don't think women understand it for the most part.
Well, I think as a woman, right, as women, you guys have to remember that men are visual creatures, right? And so you have to have that talk before marriage. Again, it goes back to effective communicating, right? You have to ask those guys or your man that tough question: where do you want me at weight wise? And the man have to be bold enough and have the kahunas to say, "Look, I'm attracted to this specific weight type," right? Whether that's slim, skinny, 145 to 160, whatever the case may be. You have to tell your lady pre-marriage, because you don't want her to get into marriage and gain all the weight and then you don't desire her as you used to. And most guys are not going to really communicate that in a way that makes the woman feel, okay, I need to tighten up. So I think having premarital communication and that counseling and exposing those things will help a lot of women inside the marriage. And men, you have to also learn that once a woman has a baby or babies, her metabolism changes, and then after a certain ages, her metabolism again changes. So if you don't, I remember I heard Dr. Miles Monroe said, if you want your wife to look a certain way and she doesn't, you have no one to blame but yourself. You look in the mirror. And
Mm,
so as a man, you take your wife, if you see her gaining some weight, you work out with her.
that's powerful. Now, I have to speak as a lady. I went through a time of depression. I didn't realize I was depressed, but I was fighting a depression. I'm a fighter, I have this resilience. So I went through a depression because I had lost my sister, my mom, and my dad. They all died in the span of 3 years. So our whole family was trying to figure this thing out. I was battling, I had went through divorce myself, and then I was also battling a dissertation and trying to lead a school. So you can imagine all the different areas of stress. Well, I put on a lot of weight and I began to weigh around 180 pounds. It was to the point that my face began to fluff out. Now, I am a skinny girl. I'm a skinny girl. My bone structure is skinny. Certain people, They might be big bone. They might not, necessarily have my structure, and that's fine. I'm speaking on my life experience. So I went through a season where I just was putting on the pounds. Skirts would not fit anymore. I didn't even care if I was attractive or not. I did not. And I also felt, Javid, like I didn't know if I could lose the weight. I just didn't. It was
Mm.
too overwhelming to take on the task of working out, of even caring. And then I had a phenomenal friend of mine who he inspired me to work out because Dre would post these pictures of him working out with his selfie squad, and I was so motivated. I was like, oh my gosh, these people are sweating and working out. And so I was like, hey, what do I need to do? He's like, just work out for at least like an hour, whatever, post it. And I was like, okay. So let me tell you, the first time I worked out, I did not even work out. The first time I wrote it on a piece of paper, work out for 15 minutes. And I
Yeah.
did not even lift a weight. I didn't take a walk. I did nothing. I just wrote it down. I was, I was proud of myself for picking up the pen and writing it down. But anyway,
Amen.
but long story short, now I feel blessed. I've not really missed a day. I've lost over 30 pounds. I love the way I look. I
Hey,
feel so
congrats.
great. And it's so funny because like I get checked out all the time now, and it's weird now because I've been out of the game for a hot minute. So I'm like, what's going on, y'all? What's going on? I'm not trying to be that way, but I say this humbly because um, I'm saying this for the ladies out there. Now, Java, there are a lot of women that are where I was, at the beginning, where the task of working out seems daunting, overwhelming. They might not have like the resources. They might not have a gym pass, or they don't know how to work out at home, and they don't really have anyone pushing them. So, what kind of advice would you give to a single lady out there, or to a guy that they're just trying to lose that extra 30 pounds or even more? They don't even know where to get started.
Hmm. I remember when I stopped playing football, and normally when you play football, you have a different appetite. You eat
Right.
more because you work out and you're running, and so your body needs to refuel. And I stopped, and I still had that appetite, and I put on a lot of weight. I got to a point where I got about 225, 230, and I'm 5'7". So I was muscular, so the weight didn't really show, but I felt it, right? So I felt my blood pressure go up. I would have headaches more frequently. So I think if you are in that position where you have a little bit of weight, male or female, that you're wanting to take off, there has to be some type of trigger, something that sparks some type of inspiration deep within you. And that's something that cannot come from exterior. It has to come from interior, right? So you have to find something, whether that's your health, whether that's trying to find you a man, whether that's trying to find you a girl. You have to find something that can inspire you to want to lose the weight, because no matter what anyone else says, unless you want to lose the weight, you're not going to lose it. So I think finding something that can inspire you and push you and keep you motivated, that will help anybody trying to lose
Well,
weight.
yeah, and I appreciate your wisdom. I want to now talk about a little bit more about divorce and marriage, and just these different statistics that are just heartbreaking, and why people are probably a little bit nervous about getting married. So, some divorce rates, it shows here the first time marriages, divorce rates are at 41% currently. Second time marriages, 60%, and then the third time marriage, 73%. Now this is really tough. It seems like it just continues to climb exponentially. And then look here, it says US has the fourth highest divorce rate in the world, and Russia was number one. Hungary was the last one at this particular site that I saw online. And so let's speak to that a little bit. I'm a heart hurts, with all the divorces. It seems like it's just so common.
Mm. Man, I think the first thing you have to do before you get married is you have to make sure that the person that you're getting married to is in it for the long haul. Can we have some type of actual vow, agreement, whatever you want to call it? Divorce is not an option. That's the first thing.
Right.
You have to know that the person you're getting in the hole with, go ahead.
Now, what about people that are like, okay, I know God said this person's my wife or my husband, but then later on they're just like, I'm just done. I just don't. Like, what about that?
That happens. I always tell people you never fall out of love. You was never in love to begin with, right? If you are truly in love with someone, you're gonna work through whatever you have to work through, right? The problem with today's society, and I think that one of the reasons why the US is so high, is because people have so many options, right? And people cheat within their marriage without actually cheating physically. What I mean by that is this: you're with your spouse, right? You see a billboard, half naked lady, half naked man, right? You watch a movie, half naked lady, half naked man. Subconsciously, what you are doing, you are lusting after someone else. So,
So,
as a, go ahead.
help us women understand. So when a guy is watching a movie and some chick on there barely dressed and she's cute, what goes through his mind, especially if he's married or in a committed relationship, and he's like, "Oh goodness!" Like, what is that thought process like? How long does it take him to kind of get that out of his system? And what is that battle really like for him?
We have to remember that men are visual creatures, right? No matter who it is, if he's looking on a lady, whether in a movie or a billboard, and she's scantily dressed or half naked, the automatic mindset for most men, I would say probably 99% of men, man, this is the thought process, man, she look good. I'd hit that. Automatic. That's just real talk. And so
Interesting,
the Bible says we have to guard our eyes, right?
right?
So it's not an easy thing to do, but what we have to do as men, we have to get to the point where we guard our eyes. What I mean by that is, as soon as you see something that's automatically going to trip you up or cause you to lose the true desire that you have to your wife or to your girlfriend, close your eyes, look away immediately. As soon as you see it, look away. Because
Wow,
let's say, for instance, if you are supposed to have 100% lust or desire to your wife, that 1 or 2% that initially came up, it may last a month or two or a couple of days. That's attraction that you're depriving from your wife
hmm,
or your girlfriend. So
right?
you have to guard your eyes. You out and about, soon as you see a nice lady coming by, you already know if you see her and you look at her, you're gonna lust because you're visual, and that's not your wife.
Wow. So should women just get over the fact that men naturally struggle with that and just deal with it?
No, here's how women can combat that, right? When you are in a relationship and or marriage, you have to ask your spouse, hey honey, what keeps you attracted to me? Like what gets your engine revved up? Whatever that is, you have to consistently do that, right? Because as soon as he enter outdoors where he's not around you, guess what he's seeing? Women in tights, right? Everything's showing. The front is showing. The size of it is showing. If they got a thong on it, showing. Your spouse, what is it that keeps you attracted to me,
Wow.
right? If it's dressing a certain way, I'm not a big advocate of super tight clothes for me personally. I think for me, The less showing, the more attractive you are to me. But I can't speak for every guy, right? But in the home, do those things. When it comes to romance in the bedroom, those are things that you need to talk to your spouse about to figure out, and then you hit those buttons.
Wow. So what if okay, so as a black female, what if I was in a relationship with a guy that, for example, wanted a woman that had hair all the way down to the floor? I had someone say this to me once, and they said, I saw this beautiful, godly woman. Her hair was dragging to the floor and da da da. And I just stopped him mid sentence. And I said, okay, let's understand something, sir. God created her that way. God created me with this nice little puff. Okay. This puff has not been cut in 16, 15 years. Okay. So if I was of a different ethnicity, it would be dragging to the floor. Right. But don't come at me saying that women are only beautiful when their hair is dragging to the floor. And I can go get some weave and put that foolishness in my head, but I'm not doing that either. Okay. Because I love my natural self. So don't dare insult me with this foolishness. Okay. So I mean that conversation stopped cold, done. Like I knew right then when that was said, done. I don't know. Like I'm just that type of person. Like don't approach me if I'm not what you desire or what you think is beautiful, and then don't dare once you're trying to be with someone like myself that they have features that you're not necessarily obsessed with and you desire. Don't dare approach her. So what would you say
Yep.
if if a guy's married and you marry a woman and maybe it's reverse. Maybe her hair does drag to the floor. And then you meet a woman that's gorgeous and she's got the most beautiful afro and there's something eccentric about her and just that queen beauty comes out and you just can't wrap your mind around why you think this woman is so beautiful. Like, well, what do you say to a guy like that in that situation?
I think as men, we have to do a better job of finding what we are really attracted to. If you're attracted to a short hair lady, get you a short hair lady. If you're attracted to a long hair lady, get you one. If you're attracted to a natural sister, get one. But don't
Mhm.
approach someone that's not fitting the description of what you're attracted to, and then shaming that person. That makes absolutely no sense. Why even approach her if she's not what you're looking for on a
Exactly.
physical standpoint? Approach the person that has the physical features that you want. But just keep in mind, physical features doesn't always equate to what's in the mind and what that person's soul carries, right? Me personally, as a man, I love long hair. My mom has long hair, so I grew up seeing that, but I also love long natural hair, because
Right.
I grew up in Jamaica. I didn't really see a lot of perm and stuff till I came here.
Exactly. Exactly. So, um, so I guess how can a man be honest? Say they find a dime piece out there, but she's not necessarily
Mhm.
everything she likes, but she's perfect. With you could be with her forever. She would never cheat. She would be just everything you want, but she's not necessarily that dime out there. She's not Beyonce. She's not the Kardashian women. Like she's just plain or whatever. Like, so how can you help a guy, especially godly men that are really trying to pursue the right spouse? How can you help them? I guess I wouldn't say compromise. Well, maybe compromise in a good way. Um, with accepting that no, you're not settling, but this is why you're choosing or whatnot. Like, what would you say to a guy? Is it worth compromising certain traits to have just a gold, woman, or is it really important that they choose what they truly lust and desire after and maybe give up some things internally? So, do I need to ask the question again or I think I lost. Did I lose you, Javin? Are you there now? I think it's. If you guys are joining, welcome to the Real Talk Show with Dr. India White. We're talking about relationships, and I asked the question. We're talking about, do we compromise our external desires for internal worth, or flip around? Do we compromise internal values for external worth? So, Javid, can you hear
All
me?
right, now I got you. Yeah, I got you
Yay!
now. Oh man. All right, so I heard a little bit about what you said pertaining to a guy if they met, that perfect woman, but I didn't hear pretty much anything after that.
So, okay, so if a guy meets a perfect woman, but she's not necessarily um, a dime piece, she's not like a Beyonce or Kardashian woman, but she's amazing. Like, you could spend quality time with her. She's great financially, spiritually, everything. Emotionally, she's perfect. Should he compromise and choose that lady, or should he choose the lady that is absolutely gorgeous on the outside, but maybe not the best choice on the inside? Maybe she's a little snippet and rude, or maybe she's got some things about her that are not as appealing, but she's gorgeous on the outside. Which choice should he go with?
Most men, they pick or they choose peace over anything. So whichever women normally exterior wise very beautiful or normal, but if that individual provides him the peace, what I mean by that is when he gets home, she don't nag him. She knows how to communicate with him. When he brings stuff to the table, she knows how to smooth it over, and peace, whether beautiful or normal. That's who you need to ride with as a man, and ultimately, who can you authentically be yourself with, right?
I like.
As a man,
Mhm.
what we hunger for the most is just to be ourselves.
Wow. And see, for women, men are very big on visual. Women are not as much prone to the visual. Um, a woman, now I'm not gonna lie, there are some guys out there. It's like, whoa, like he's doing the thing, all right, beautiful, right? But I would rather have someone that might not necessarily catch the eye per se, but emotionally he gets it. He gets me. We can grow emotionally, spiritually. We're there, success. We understand finances together. We can have an intellectual conversation. Like for me, I it's a turnoff for me if somebody is not intellectually sound. No, you don't need to have a degree from Harvard. But if I cannot have a conversation with you about, for example, election, or about the weather, about what happened in the news, if you are just dull and just don't get it, it's done. I can't. There's nothing to talk about. So I think that also when choosing someone, they have to be compatible with what they're bringing to the table. You have to be equally yoked financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And another thing too, there's nothing like a guy that can stand his ground and defend his woman. And if you have a guy that for example, if you have a guy that is defending his lady, that is so impressive, and it really helps her feel safe. And with that said, that's going to bring me into top reasons why people do get married, why women get married. So looking at Match.com today, Match.com said that the top reasons why women get married are for security and for love. So Javid, I'm going to have you speak on these top reasons why women get married: security and for love. And how do you think guys can grow in these areas?
I definitely believe women get married for security. I think love is a secondary thing that women, not all, but most, get married for. As a man, you're responsible for the household. It's your job to provide for your family. With that being said, I grew up a little bit different. I grew up seeing both my parents work together as a team, right? My mom was a stay-at-home mom, but my dad was a farmer. So even though my mom was a stay-at-home mom, she would still help. We would plant peanuts and we would grow mangoes, all types of various fruit, and my mom always helped, right? So come to the U.S., same thing. Both are pitching in on bills, going in at it. You know, as a man, you have to find the type of woman that has the belief system. Look, I ain't paying no bill. You're gonna pay everything. I'm gonna be a stay-at-home wife, and that's it. And if that's the woman that you want, then you got to make sure you step correct. You got to make sure your money right, and it ain't funny, right? Or
Right.
if you want someone that, say it again.
Oh no, I said right. I think there's there are those two main categories of ladies. I think too, the women that are like, I'm a stay at home, I'll take care of you, I'll give you everything. But hey, some guys want that, and then you've got the ladies where they're like, listen, I'm always gonna have something coming in on the side. I'm sorry, I've got to make money, honey. You've got to understand, I'm about making money, and I will hustle, and I'll join you in the hustle, and together we're just gonna build, a kingdom. So you've got those two types of ladies, and depending on the
Yep,
guy, he has to be comfortable with what he chooses.
that's the truth. That's the truth.
So, so these are the top two reasons: security and love. But one thing about a man, when do you think a man's like, okay, I know I'm in love with her, like I'm in love with her? What does it for a guy?
The moment the guy feels he can't be without her, like he will literally get a weird vibe around his heart area. The moment she's out of his life, things don't start going well, right? He fumbles stuff. His world is not the same without her, right? When she comes around, again, there's that peace factor. It's like, man, everything good. She here ain't got to worry about nothing. You know,
Uh-huh.
that's when the guy knows he's in love. That's it.
Wow. See, I think it's weird for ladies. Women, we could feel like we can marry a guy after the first, second date. We're already planning baby names, and because I don't know, I think it's just because when we feel that we are desired and we feel that there's some type of commitment potential, and we can brag on our person to those that we love. Oh yeah, he's this, like, and when you start bringing that to the table, and it feels good to have those. Oh, he does this, and oh, he went to this school, and oh, he does that, like being able to present them and knowing that you have something of great characteristics to present to your loved ones and to your inner circle. I think that too is what really triggers that sense of wanting to be with someone. And then, of course, the romantic thing might play a part. Some women like the fixer upper, that might fix her car engine or whatever. So it
Mm,
depends. But women, I think also it's just about knowing that you've got a man that really cares for you and not more of a dentist. And when I say a dentist, I
yeah.
don't know if you know what I mean by a dentist, but there's that. Yeah, the guy that the guy that pretends not good, not good. Okay, so we want
Oh
the
man.
dentist without the letdown, right?
Yeah.
So So whenever a woman feels that this guy can carry her financially, I tell you, I think it's so unattractive, especially when you're dating, that you have to carry the whole financial load. It's horrible for a woman to have to do that. But I think too, on the other
Yeah,
side, I think a woman should also be respectful of how hard that man has worked in, what he's been putting in. I mean, you have to respect that. You have to respect his business, his job, and like, his good name and how hard he works, and not take that for granted and not drain the man. You know what I mean? Certain
that's
women, they'll
true.
get with a man and they're like, oh, okay, he's got a job, but let me go buy this Gucci purse, and let me go buy this such and such, let me go buy this Benz, and it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And it's like, women have to understand, also that women just have to understand to respect the man, and so let's talk about that. Maybe let's talk about finances during dating and or courting, financial spending and all that. And what's your take on that?
Man, there's so much. I think as a man, you shouldn't. I think here's how I break stuff down. In your 20s, as a man, you should not be worried about no relationship. That's just me personally. You should be grinding, trying to establish yourself, trying to figure out, okay, what career path am I going to go down? Right? How much money do I want to have saved? Right?
Right.
These are things as a man I feel like you should be doing. In your 20s, you should be in a relationship as a man. Now, when it comes, I think your late 20s, 28, 29, okay, now I need to start thinking about settling down. But what happens is, for the most part, male and female, in their 20s, I would say from 18 till about 28, 29, most people party. They waste money, right? And they
Mm,
spend their
yeah.
30s trying to recuperate what they've lost in their 20s. So now by the time you're 40, you've lost 20 years already. So you're behind the
Yeah.
eight ball for most instances, right? So I just think as a man, if you can establish yourself by 31, 32, I think you're much more prepared to go into an actual relationship and or marriage, because I think by 33, you should have some change saved up. You should have a house by then. So now you can start thinking about marriage. As a woman, already established. I have a couple thousand saved up. I would like to pursue you and see if we can make this thing work for marriage. As a woman, get it on your own. You by yourself, you ain't got no dude, man, get you a house, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
That cheddar, chase that
That's
career,
right.
because that makes you more attracted to a man. Because what happens is, for the most instance, right, for the most part, when a man is attracted to a lady, with her, oh, it's a wrap. We're gonna kill it. But I know if something happens, I know she can get it on her own. That makes a woman so much more attractive than just, oh, I want to be a stay-at-home wife.
Right.
I'm just saying.
All right.
I'm gonna add
Welcome,
one more.
guys, to the Real Talk Show. Yes. What else?
I'm,
What else?
I'm
Bring
gonna add
it. Bring
one
it.
more. As a dude, if you're in a certain position financially and you see a lady that's not there, right? You have to test her mentality towards certain things. And this is where a lot of divorces happen, right? A man could be a go-getter, a hustler, and he picks the wrong lady that's gonna nag him when he's out hustling. I'm not talking about the dude that's out there doing his dirt. I'm talking about the dude that stays on his
Oh.
grind. Let's say, for instance, he has a business and he may come in 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. He ain't out there doing no dirt. He just working.
Mm-hmm.
He picks the wrong female, and I've seen this firsthand. He picks the wrong female when he comes in. Where you at? Why you been gone so long? Why you been out? He don't need that. He's trying to hustle to bring the bacon home.
Right.
right?
Right.
But if he picks a female that can encourage him, that says this when he gets home late sometimes, hey, did you make any money? How did you
Right.
do?
That's good.
Welcome
Well,
home,
how can
baby.
I help
All
you?
those
How
small
can I
things,
help you?
man, it inspires a man. Yes, all those things, it inspires a man more to want to be successful for his lady.
Exactly. Wow. And I think that's where women are missing it is some of us nag and complain instead of having a perspective to empathize and say, I wonder what work was like for him today. How can I help him make more money? Do I need to be a secretary? Do I need to help with certain things online? Am I techie? Do I need to offer my services for him? Do I need to make phone calls? Like, what do I need to do? And maybe that guy also has to be willing to let her in his workspace and help out with some of that as well, and understand this part, that a successful woman is not a threat, but she is an asset. And the thing is,
Yes,
some men feel intimidated by successful women. They just do. They feel like, oh God, she's got this going on, this going on. She's bought this, she's got that, and oh, I don't know if I can hold a candle. Instead of being like, wait, she has this, that, she bought this. Let's go make millions together, please. Like, I don't know why certain men don't get it.
yes,
Men don't
that's
get it.
true.
So I think this has been a very interesting conversation, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the statistics
Hmm.
about marriage. So, top reasons why men get married. It says they show love in a way that nothing else can. It provides a stable environment. And some men said, the woman I love, they become family. They're money savers. They can fully commit to one person. So I got that from HuffPost. What is your perspective about these statistics or these facts here?
Show love. Okay, I believe men get married at the end of the day because they see that woman, right, as someone that can help them multiply life. Whether
Wow.
that's, man, she can help me boost my business. She can take care of my kids. She can help me stack some money. Those, I think, are the areas that men look at the most when they're thinking about settling down with a female, getting married. If if the woman can't do those things, or they don't think the female can do those things, they won't get married to her. They'll stay in a relationship for years and say, "Oh man,
Wow.
I'm gonna marry you. I'm gonna marry you." And then next thing you know, they leave that relationship. 6 months later, they married.
Wow. Wow. And so women, this is really complicated because certain women think it's all about the way they look, and that the way they look is what's going to drive that man to marry her. But
Nope.
I don't think they're understanding that. So if you can elaborate on the importance of kind of balancing out their opinion about the way they look versus what they bring to the table for their man. If you could talk about that as well.
Mindset is so important, right?
Right.
Booty and boobs, men can get that any day they want, right? You can go online and do stuff, you can pay for stuff. So that doesn't keep a man. The most important thing that a female can do for a man is expose him to something completely different. What I mean
Oh,
by that is you have to make that man see the value that you bring to the table. Don't offer up the goods so quick. And I'm not saying to make him chase you or anything like that. What I'm saying is, here it is. Is a Bentley advertised? Now,
nope.
when you look at TV, though, you got my point. You look at
Yeah.
TV, you see Toyota, you see Nissan, you see all these different cars, but they're a lot less expensive, right? A
Right.
Bentley depends on what type you got. You got the Bentley Mausoleum, and those can cost X-ray of close to $500,000, right? You have to
Right.
think about and consider yourself. What, and then you have to market yourself as such. If you are a woman and you feel yourself, you are a Bentley or you are a Bugatti, right? You cost 2 point something $1 million. You have to think about yourself like that. And when a man comes, you have to let that dude know, look, what do you have to offer to the table? This is what I bring to the table. I have businesses, right? I bring a different mindset. I'm gonna help you grow in this area. I'm gonna help you open up multiple businesses, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna help you grow as a person spiritually. Those are things that men look at because if it's just about booty, but can you help me to multiply my business, right? Can you help me to grow as a
Right.
man? Are you going to challenge me to grow as a man?
Wow. Wow. I don't think women are even thinking about that. Certain women are thinking about I'm the queen, and he needs to realize it when he sees me, and it's all about me, and he needs to spend his money on me, and it's just this mindset. Help us, Father, help us. This is horrible. But certain women are not even preparing for long-term commitment
If I can
because their
add something
mind is
else,
messed up. Yes, go ahead. Yes.
there is two things that men see when they see a woman, and I'm going to keep it short. Initially speaking, when a man sees a woman, he thinks one of two things. He's either thinking, "Man, I want to hit that." That's one of the thoughts, or he's thinking, "Man, I want to get to know her. She seems like wifey." Based on how you carry yourself as a woman, are you exposed? Do you show a lot of cleavage? Do you show a lot of skin? Based on that, a man will make up in his mind whether he wants to pursue you for marriage or whether he want to pursue you for a little relationship, no matter how long it may last, because the nookie might be good. But just
Wow.
the way you present yourself, initially speaking, he will make those one of those two decisions.
I think women need to understand that. And I think these women that are getting their hair done and their nails done, listen, I'm not against a woman trying to be beautiful, but you know what I mean. I'm talking, you're spending $500 on fake hair, you're spending whatever. Do what you need to do, but understand that if you're coming off with a sex appeal, don't be surprised when that's all that's coming to the table. And you're wondering why Ray Ray then left after 3 weeks. Sorry. So I think there needs to be a change in
It's the
mindset.
truth.
I think so. We
Yes,
can't offer
yes.
ourselves up, as a one night stand and then expect to be committed to someone. It's just not going to work, you know. And so,
Hmm. Nope.
yeah. So speaking of
Looking
that,
stay
top
smash.
professions. Yeah, look, top professions were for divorces. Unfortunately, when you're looking at divorces, top professions with divorces, you've got dancers, bartenders, and massage therapists. So I thought it was very interesting with massage therapists, but I could also understand why with massage therapists it's not going to last much
Hmm.
longer. Um, so professions with with divorces, and then you've got the top professions with the least amount of divorces. You've got farmers, podiatrists, and I'm thinking, is that because like they didn't want I mean, why podiatrists? Anyway, and clergy.
Yeah,
Um, clergy. Hallelujah. So we've got these are the three professions with the least amount of divorces, and so I would like for you to speak on your opinions about these professions and these stats here.
well, the farmer, for instance, you're able to provide. And when you're able to provide for your family, it makes things a lot easier. And
Right.
so you're as a farmer, you're doing a lot of things with one stone. You're providing food, but you're also selling. So you're also providing financially. And in most instances, you know how to take care of your family, right? When you come home, you know how to nurture your wife. You know how to support your kids, help them with homework and things of that nature. And so
Right.
I think these other professions, they do the same thing. You have the ability to provide for your family, but you also have the time to spend with your family. And I think
Right.
once you have the time to spend with your family, you can learn about who your wife is, who your kids are, and that can help go a long way. And I think those are some of the things that have keep a sustaining marriage for a long period of time. And just being able to spend time with your family and grow
Right.
together.
Exactly. And that backs up the top reasons why women get married, but based on Pew Research, says they want love, they want lifelong commitment, companionship, they want to have children, they want a religious ceremony, so they just want to wear a wedding dress and walk down the aisle. They want financial stability, and then also the legal rights that come with marriage, benefits and things like that. So these are reasons, and I think that all of this, we have been able to kind of just talk over the reasons for divorce, the reasons for marriage, different things to look out for, and different things that will help women definitely understand the mindset of a guy, and the same with the man understanding the mindset of a woman in a traditional marriage, into as to how they can have a great marriage and plan for marriage before they go in it. So with that, do you have any last comments, Javed, concerning this topic, and how we can reach you as well?
Oh man, you can reach me at javid.morgan at wealthwave.com. I'm gonna put it up here in the comment sections, and you can also reach me
Okay.
at my websites. That's howmoneyworks.com. I'll put that up there as well. And
Hmm.
I think one of the things that make a successful marriage is just being able to have whatever your religion is. You have to have some type of foundation, some type of center that you have in the midst of the relationship, right? For me, I believe in God, right? And so having that foundation, that when things get rough, whether my spouse may get a sickness or whatever the case may be, if trials and tribulation comes up in the marriage, I have a source that I can go pray to and
Right.
ask for help, right? Because in life, you're not going to be able to go for everything by yourself. And so when things get rough, you better have some type of faith, and
Exactly.
then just communicating, be able to grow with your spouse. The
Nice.
spouse that you met 10 years ago when you initially got married, that's not the person that's going to be 10 years down the line, because they're going to grow. They have life experiences now. They've been through a few jobs, right? They may have had a few kids. So you have to be able to grow with your spouse and not stay the same person. But also, how you were treating the person initially when you first met, don't change that. If you used to bring flowers, bring them flowers. Wife, if you used to cook, still cook. Don't get comfortable.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things that I've seen and experienced, man. They don't get comfortable within their marriage. They still treat their husband good, and husbands
Right.
still treat their wife good.
That's great. That's great advice, Javed. And again, thank you so much for your expertise. This has been a wealth of information, and I'm going to put your email back up here for people to contact you. And do you have social media? How can we reach you on social
Yes.
media as well? What is
I
your
am
social media?
on Instagram. Instagram is I am Javid Morgan. It's one E for the email.
Okay. Okay. Is it one E also for
And then
Instagram or
Facebook, yes. And then
okay.
Facebook, I'm on Facebook as well. You can search me at Javid Morgan. Easy to find
Okay.
there. Perfect.
Is that
And
it?
then on LinkedIn, you can also find me. Yes, that's it right there. That's correct.
Okay.
I'm also on LinkedIn. Same thing, Javid Morgan. I try to make it real easy to find me.
Okay. So everything, and you're on LinkedIn as well. Yay. Say yay for LinkedIn. Okay.
And guys,
Okay.
if you're not on LinkedIn, I highly recommend you get on LinkedIn. That's one of the
We are
top
behind the
professional
time.
websites.
Exactly. So, wow. Thank you so much again, Javid, for your expertise and your time, your company. And thank you to all of you guys for tuning in again to the Real Talk Show. And Javid, I wish you the best of luck. We'll definitely be in touch. Wishing you the
Thank you.
best. Again, thank you. And you guys have a
Thank
great
you.
time. Have a great night tonight, everyone. And that is the end of our show. So, till next time, I'll see you later.
See you guys later. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.